Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. I'm Barbara Hardt.
And I'm Doug Armitage. And now for this week's news.
Our intro music this month is Change by Grant Livingston. Change is a song of hope and a prayer calling for positive momentum. This song is inspired by the love, beauty, and harmony created through collaboration.
This episode is brought to you by Brightwood Music, Hardt's Backhoe, Netterling Chiropractic, The Last Stand Tavern, and of course, the Mountaineer.
There's something going on. Maybe it's happening in the way beyond our minds.
For our lead story today, we talked to some of the teachers at Netherland Middle Senior High School about the Career and Technical Education Program.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and this past week I visited Netherland Middle Senior High School to interview some teachers about the brand new Career and Technical Education program at the school. First, here is my interview with Miss Teresa Redman and Mr. Mark Mabbitt.
I am Mr. Mark Mabbitt. I teach construction and engineering and architecture here at Netherland Middle Senior High School.
I am Teresa Redman, and I teach the outdoor recreational leadership classes, a lot of them, not all of them, such as Colorado 14ers this year and backpacking this year. Do you want to know the others?
Sure, if you can.
Orienteering and route finding. We have Intro to Winter Sports, Wilderness First Aid, and Wilderness First Responders down the road as well. So we've got a variety.
And how did the CTE classes start?
I think it was a group decision and the motivation from Rick Ellerson, knowing that we have an awesome environment and doing something about that. It's been a dream of mine since I've been here, not necessarily to do anything with CTE. I did not know at the time that there was an outdoor leadership pathway in CTE. When I thought of career and technical education, I thought of auto and mechanics and going down to Boulder Tech kind of classes. I didn't know there was an outdoor option. But my dream when I first came here 11 years ago, seeing the landscape and seeing Eldora so close, was just wanting to have PE classes like hiking and rock climbing and mountain biking and skiing and snowboarding. So I always had that dream, and I told that to Mr. Ellerson. So when he was excited about CTE and asked teachers if they were interested in their department and what it would fit into, he was telling me that CTE includes outdoor leadership, and it was up my alley of my dream.
We started probably 2 years ago. Mr. Ellerson, myself, and then two parents kind of started throwing the idea around. We came up with a survey and kind of piloted 5 different pathways, and have kind of had to back off on a couple of those because we just don't have the resources to start them. But we've been able to actually get 5 kind of started in the preliminary stages. Some of them are going stronger than others, but hopefully we get there with others. So the 5 pathways are construction, engineering, and architecture, which is kind of your traditional building, construction, carpentry pathway. We learn everything from like architectural plans all the way through actually building and doing the electrical finishes and stuff like that. So it's a pretty robust pathway. The courses in that class are Construction 1, and then Mechanical, Electrical, and Plumbing, which is a course I'm teaching now. And then last year we taught Construction 1 and Architecture, so a Revit design class. And then next year, hopefully, we teach Construction 1 as well as Heavy Equipment Operator and Sustainable Building. So those are like always Construction 1 and then some kind of more advanced set of classes to go with it. The other pathways are Outdoor Leadership, and I'll let Teresa talk more about that. And then we also, I can't remember what the actual natural resource pathway is.
Environmental science.
Natural resource and environmental sciences. and that's Mr. Wade, Miss Colton. I think those are the two primary teachers in that area, and I don't know if you're going to interview them, but they would know their pathway better than I do. Pretty robust offering set of courses where kids get to be out actually doing science in the field, not just science in the classroom. And then we're working on business being a pathway. And so you take already a finance course here as just part of your graduation requirements. And then hopefully we can continue to grow finance and computer science in kind of a merged pathway where kids can take some kind of computing courses, coding and stuff like that, as well as marketing and finance and things like that.
And this is the first year kind of doing CTE related stuff, is that correct?
Actually, last year I technically taught architecture and we were certified, and that was actually a CTE class, and that's just more kind of semantic difference, like not jumping through state hoops, but getting approval for everything, getting it all off the ground and stuff. So actually last year I taught architecture. Didn't you teach orienteering?
Yeah, I would say 2 years ago is when, because it took a lot, especially I felt like it took a lot for me because I didn't want to teach a class that I didn't know more about. So I took classes at Red Rocks, Mabbott took classes at Red Rocks. Other teachers were writing, because we had to write new courses for the district. These courses didn't exist in a lot of areas. Like Fish and Wildlife, Miss Colton taught last year, but we had to get that approved through BBSD and CTE and get our CTE certifications first before any of this started rolling. So we're on year 3 if you look at it that way. But as far as students would see it, they would probably feel like that it started this year because that's the majority of the classes. But a lot goes on behind the scenes.
It's been a 3-year journey, I would say, as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of teacher work up front just to get courses approved by the state and by the school district, getting trained to teach those classes, buying all the materials and getting the funding for all the materials and tools and stuff like that. So it's been a while, and we're just slowly building, trying, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
And I've learned that once you teach the class for the first time with students, it's kind of like a trial, and the second time it goes way better. So I feel like in year 4 and 5 is when it really is going to shine.
And what do you feel is the ultimate goal in regards to, with you guys, but also just in general, about how the classes are being implemented and what you hope to see out of the students getting these classes offered?
Well, at some level, I think, especially as a tradesperson, kind of teaching the trades types classes, meaning, people who are going to go into carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and stuff like that. And there's going to be a big surfeit of people who are trained in those positions. So we really have to start thinking about how do we make sure that we have enough electricians in the future. And I think, for the last 20 years or so, we, in education, kind of sent everybody to the traditional 4-year college route, and didn't kind of advertise and train people up in other ways. And going to trade school, going to the community college, getting that kind of training, and coming out and making pretty decent money and good careers out of those positions. So to me, that's one of my goals in the pathway that I teach, getting people into apprenticeship programs, getting people at least exposed to these careers, and then they can say, yeah, I want to be in carpentry and I want to make more than $10 an hour as a laborer, right? To have the skill set to actually be a carpenter or to be an electrician is very different than just being somebody who carries boards around all day.
Yeah, I could say specific things to outdoor leadership and how that changed from PE, but I think the more important big picture is we need to keep and attract new students to our school. We're getting kind of smaller and smaller in time, and we're trying to counter that by offering something that no one else really offers in the district. And we have fantastic, phenomenal teachers here. We have fantastic, phenomenal students here. We just need more to retain our teachers and our students. So by attracting students from down below up here, we need a program that no one else has. And what is better fitting than using your environment that no one else has, which is the mountains.
I think the other part is it really makes our elective offerings much more relevant, right? And if, you're not just taking a one-off class that's for no reason. Like, theoretically, it's career building in some way. It's exposing you to something that you might go, wow, I never thought I could do that for a living. I never thought I could go to college for that. And so I think all of our pathways hopefully lead kids into something that gives them a little more connected, rather than being like, oh, you took a computer science class and you're done. It's like, oh, computer science is part of business, and if you go into business, there's all these different ways to use computers. It's not just robotics, it's not just a one-off class. Trying to give people an exposure to, it's a bigger, more coherent idea than just a single thing.
And what are you guys most excited about in regards to being able to
teach these classes and offer such an exciting new program here at Ned?
So many things. I look forward to as many hoops as we have to jump through to get trips organized. I love that my goal with each class is some sort of outdoor trip experience that's beyond, even behind our school and further. So orienteering, route finding, doing an orienteering event, a geocaching event with backpacking. We go to different locations to backpack depending upon if it's a fall class where we can go closer to Nederland, or spring we're looking to go really far out west, almost to the border of Utah, so that we avoid the snow and don't cancel the trip. Colorado 14ers, we hike a 14er. It's quite the experience. It's actually life-changing. Like, if you can remember stuff that you did in high school, I never really have any memories of sitting at a desk and learning or taking notes. It's like a blur. Yes, I know I did that. There's nothing that stands out from that though. These trips that we're going on, where you're learning to interact with your peers and relate to different ability levels and be calm and patient, but also encouraging. Like, you're learning something that will last your life, and you'll also remember the experience. So it's just so cool. So that's really what makes me excited. But I'm also excited to the day-to-day. Like, we train by going outside a lot. And the weather changes up here. Like, today it's January 12th, 2022. It was a beautiful day, but it's snowy everywhere. We went snowshoeing. It's great. Like, the weather is not going to cancel us like other PE classes that I've taught before, where we're not going outside if there's snow on the ground because we can't do that activity. We've now opened up the potential of activities, and those things people will use like later in life. So if you're an adult in life and you want to do something, you don't need to get an entire team, like a soccer team, to play the sport you love. You can love to hike or snowshoe and do that solo or with just one friend. So that's what's great, is lifelong activities that people will go back to that they learned in high school, instead of an activity that they really loved in high school but they don't have 20 people that are adults with the same days of the week off to necessarily play and stay active. So there's a lot of things I'm excited about.
And a lot of our courses end in like kind of professional level certificates. And so I think it's kind of resume building in that way for a lot of our students too. So if you come out of a construction program and you can say, listen, I know how to use the Revit software, I can do architecture plans, that just gives you a leg up on everybody else who's going into that field. And if you're applying for programs and stuff like that, even if you're applying at a 4-year architecture program, you know, you've got a leg up because you've already used that software. I think it's the same across the board, whether you're coming out of our snow science program and actually have an AVI one, or you're coming out of our wilderness first aid class, which is kind of taken over for our health class. Those students are certified in wilderness first aid, and eventually maybe we'll have a wilderness first responder, which is another level up from there. And so that's really, we want to try to have all those courses end with like a professional certification. And yeah, it might just be that when you go to apply to a 4-year college, you're like, here's the 5 things I've already done in high school. I'm a successful go-getter. I can do college. Or it might be that you're applying straight in the field to go be a lift up, or to work at Eldora or any other ski resort, and you have more experience than any other 18-year-old who's coming out of high school.
Is there anything else about the programs that you want to add that you're excited about, or just that things that are coming up in general? Or
I think one of the things that's exciting is, again, not against any of the other ways we've done education, but to me it's the answer to like, when will I ever use this? It's really like understanding that 16-year-old and 17-year-old and 18-year-old students have an opinion about what they want to do when they grow up, and they want to at least explore it in high school. And you're not coming out as a doctor or as an electrician right away, but you've had some exposure to it, and you're like, I do like this stuff, I want to do this.
I guess I would like to add, with COVID and the 2020, 2021, personally, I have stared at a computer in the last 2 years more than ever before in my life. So to have the opportunity to get outside, and just outside of a physical building, in any environment, and outside away from screens, and even the temptation of screens, because they're not in their backpack, which is on the side of the gym or what, like, we are freed back out to where we belong in nature, and kids have smiles on their faces and they're interacting with each other, and I don't even have to ask people to put technology away because it's not in their mind. It's awesome. So that feels really good, and it kind of saves me from the other 10 hours of the day where I feel like, why am I still looking at a computer to grade and to turn in assignments and stuff like that? It's nice to be able to actually experience the outdoors again, because COVID kind of changed that. I mean, as far as profession goes, like, people may have ventured into the outdoors more in some situations, so that's just personal, but for the school setting as well.
All right, well, those are all the big questions I have in regards to CTE, so I want to thank you guys so much for coming on board and doing this podcast.
Thank you so much.
This was awesome.
Appreciate it, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
I was also lucky enough to have a brief interview with Miss Mariah Colton.
I'm Mariah Colton. I teach science and CTE at Netherland Middle Senior High School.
Sweet. And how did you get started with teaching science CTE here?
Well, my background is in environmental science. So I have a master's in environmental science from Western Washington University, and it was actually there that I decided to go into teaching because I liked teaching so much in grad school. And so I came into this teaching job with a background in environmental science, and when the idea to kind of bridge our curriculum and education to the outdoors, it just made a lot of sense for me to step in and teach these classes too with my background.
What have you been most excited about in regards to teaching the classes and what you think they have to offer here for the students?
I think the opportunities are endless. So I'm really excited that we have these really unique opportunities that not only help build career skills, but also really give a lot of in-depth science background that could really be helpful for any sort of science college from, post-graduation. I'm also really excited that we get to partner with so many people in the community to create more work-based learning environments for students and connect our school to our community more.
What are you most excited about in regards to being able to teach all of this stuff?
I absolutely love teaching forestry. I taught it last year. It was online, which ended up kind of being exciting because everyone was in their own homes and got to share what the forest was like in their own backyards. And so it created a more diverse picture of the forests across all the areas that our school services. And kids get to go outside and see and identify the trees that are there that they've been growing up with, their whole lives, and seeing the trees grow with them, and get to identify them and understand their ecology, how they're interacting with the soils around them, the animals around them, all that good stuff.
Is there anything else big you want to add about CTE in general? What else is coming up for them, or what else you love about the programs?
I think the biggest thing coming up is really the community involvement piece that we're working towards, working with people like Eldora and Wild Bear and many, many others in the community to try and create a lot of these extended opportunities for students outside the walls of our school and off of our school grounds too. It's really been great to see these students enjoy these classes and get to explore different career options and be able to understand their backyard in a more in-depth way as well.
All right, sweet. Well, that's all I have on my end, I think. So,
cool.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for doing this. This was really cool.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
For sure.
Thank you so much to Miss Redman, Mr. Mabbitt, and Miss Colton for being able to talk to me about the brand new CTE program at Netherland Middle Senior High School.
Thanks, Jamie. We look forward to learning more about this program in the future months.
And now to the news desk.
This week's movie is Spider-Man: No Way Home, rated PG-13.
This week's edition of The Mountain Ear includes several Keep It Local features. Keep It Local is a campaign to help businesses share their business information and story across the Peak to Peak region. Keep It Local is funded for Nederland through the town of Nederland. Keep It Local Gilpin is funded by the Gilpin County Commissioners. All funding is through the American Rescue Plan Act. You'll see 104 stories from Nederland and 104 stories from Gilpin County throughout the entire year.
Gilpin County Arts Association presents an acrylic painting workshop with GCAA Artist-in-Residence Virginia Unseld. Immerse yourself in color with this one-day class, perfect for beginners or those who want to jumpstart their practice. The event takes place on Saturday, February 5th, from 9:30 to 3:30 at the Gilpin County Arts Association Washington Hall in Central City. Register by calling 303-582-5952.
The Mountain Man Outdoor Store carries new and used outdoor gear. Carhartts, Loki, Darn Tough socks, hats, gloves, goggles, helmets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and more. They have everything you need as a Ned local and everything you didn't know you'd need when visiting Nederland from afar. They are located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, Unit 111 in Nederland.
And now we'll head to Barb Hardt for an interview with Dr. Catherine Valen of Nederland Chiropractic and Wellness Center. Take it away, Barb.
All right, I am sitting here at Nederland Chiropractic and Wellness Center with Dr. Valen, and we are talking about her business and when it started. So, Dr. Valen, when did you start your business officially in Nederland?
My first day open was September 16th, 1988. I moved to Nederland almost completely sight unseen. Had been working for another chiropractor down in Colorado Springs, and a friend of mine from school had started a practice here and then had fallen in love with a guy, and they were expecting their first child, and he got transferred back to the East Coast. So she needed to sell her practice almost before it was fully open. She'd been kind of part-time opened for a little while and had bought waiting room furniture and business cards and not much else, and called up and said, I need to sell my practice. Do you know anybody looking? And so I talked to her about it and decided, I would like to move in the mountains and I would like to help my friend out. And so I moved here without ever having really seen the town.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. And what inspired you to be a chiropractor?
When I was a senior in college, I was an engineer with a double major in mechanical engineering and physiology and a minor in sports injuries, which was just following my interest, but it turns out to be a really good pre-chiropractic curriculum, even though I had never been to a chiropractor and I really had only vaguely heard of chiropractors. We were a military family, and so we'd seen military doctors and only the things that were provided by the military for my entire life. And then one Friday night, my friends and I were going to go four-wheeling in a Jeep, and instead we got into a head-on collision, after which I got hit by a car when I got out of the Jeep. I woke up in a hospital, and I couldn't walk. I fractured my sacrum, and I'd shoved bones around in my pelvis and low back in such a way that basically with the technology of the time, they said, we can't do anything for you. We can't operate. We'd have to cut through nerves to fix this. And so you will be full-time in a wheelchair by the time you're 25. And I was not quite 21 then. And so that was really hard, and I didn't want to live my life that way. I was pretty depressed. My mom got desperate enough to take me to a chiropractor based on a friend's recommendation, and he had me walking with complete control in about 3.5 weeks. It took another 9 months worth of care to get the feeling back in my lower body. But this was after seeing surgeon after surgeon, specialist after specialist. It was probably 7 or 8 months after my accident when I got the first care. And being able to walk was something really important to me. So I changed majors on the spot, and my dad was not impressed. I was 14 hours away from graduating as an engineer, and I changed majors to pre-med and instead went to chiropractic school.
Wow. What are some of the features of your business that you offer other than chiropractic? You have several treatment rooms. What else can people expect here?
Well, I'd been an athletic trainer before I became a chiropractor, worked my way through school as an athletic trainer, and so I'm pretty competent with taping, including kinesiology taping as well as the classic sports taping. We offer traction and whole body vibration, both what we would call hot and cold laser, which is class 3 laser and class 4 laser. We coordinate with massage therapists to help people with soft tissue work as well. And I have a lot of interest in nutrition and homeopathy, some herbology. And more recently, since COVID came along and we were shut down for a while, I decided to test drive a diet program because I'd picked up weight over time. I'd had complications with a pregnancy with my one and only son and ended up with postpartum osteoporosis, and I have broken each of my legs several times. And I found it's really hard to keep weight off when you are recovering from one broken leg after another. So I'd picked up weight over time and gotten quite heavy. I decided when I was home on COVID lockdown that I'd never have more control over what and when I ate, and I decided to test drive a new diet that I had heard had been developed by a chiropractor called ChiroThin, and I actually have enjoyed really good success with that. I dropped a little over 80 pounds and now I've kept it off for almost 2 years. So that's been something new that now I'm offering to patients at the clinic. I never really thought I would supervise people on diets, but I've found that it's really rewarding watching people's health turn around. People that have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, are often coming out of that. Blood pressure numbers are coming down and people are able to reduce or come off of medications, and people just feel so much better. So I've actually found it surprisingly rewarding to help people enjoy the same kind of success I have with the diet.
Great, thank you. What makes you different than other competitors in the area? I realize you're the only one in Nederland, or really in the Peak to Peak with an office people can visit, but what makes you different that people should come to you?
Well, everybody is different, and sometimes I'm not going to be the right doctor for somebody, but I've been doing this now for 36 years, and I've got a lot of different techniques that I can claim competency in, and so I try really hard to find what's going to work for each patient that comes in to see me. My goal is to give the treatment I wish I got when I was on the table with somebody, and to do whatever I can to help somebody. Sometimes somebody might need a technique that I'm not an expert at, and so identifying that and figuring out where to send them is sometimes the best I can do for somebody. But for the most part, whether it's a little old lady with severe osteoporosis who we can't use very much force at all with, all the way up to hardened athletes, we've got different techniques that I can use to help almost everybody that walks in the door.
Great, thank you. What's your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite part is that basically there's a lot of instant gratification in my job. People come in hurting and they leave feeling better. Sometimes they feel fabulous, sometimes they just aren't in as much pain, but I feel like I was able to turn their day around and make it better and make it less painful. And there's just an awful lot of pleasure in being able to do that.
That makes sense. And the region you cover, obviously you're located in Nederland, but you have patients, I'm sure, from farther away. Where do most of the people come visit from?
Most of my patients are kind of from Ward down to Blackhawk Central City area, but I have people that come even from out of state. Maybe they came in when they were on vacation and renting a cabin in Eldora, and now they make a point of coming to see me a couple times a year from out of state. But I also have regular people that come up from Longmont and Boulder, Arvada, Westminster. I worked part-time for a while down in town when my son was going to school down the hill, and most of the patients that I saw when I was working down in the Front Range area now make the trip up to Nederland to come see me, which is really flattering. Sometimes I feel a little bad about the trip they make, but we have patients coming from all over.
Great, thank you. And who else is on your leadership team, and what is their background?
Well, we've recently changed over some staff. We'd like to welcome Greg Allum to the team. He's worked, a lot of people know him. He's lived in Eldora for more than 30 years, and he's been an EMT in the past. So he has a lot of medical background, and now is coming to help us with taking care of patients, which has been really nice to have kind of that extra set of eyes and hands. And then we also have a massage therapist who helps out with us at the office, Carol Colts, and she's been a massage therapist for more than 40 years and worked in other chiropractic offices years ago.
Great, thank you. I think that answers most of the regular questions I had. Anything else you'd like to mention that's going on right now?
Well, right now, because it's the beginning of the year and everybody starts thinking about their resolutions and their weight this time of year, we are offering our ChiroThin diet plan, which is a supervised diet plan that has a 6 weeks losing phase on it, and we're offering a 10% discount on that right now. It's a plan that involves 6 weeks of losing, during which time most women will lose at least 20 or 25 pounds. Most men will lose more like 35 pounds. But I've seen really excellent results with both genders, with people who are willing to follow it pretty strictly. And then the diet also includes supervision through 4 weeks of maintenance after that. And if somebody has more weight to lose than that, then they can repeat rounds. But the goal is to help you get that weight lost and have it lost in a way that it can stay off.
That makes sense. Thank you so much. Thank you for meeting with me and doing an interview kind of on the fly. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Barb. And Catherine for our Keep It Local podcast on Nederland Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
Visit Brightwood Music in Nederland for an ever-changing variety of banjos, guitars, and more. Every week brings new and used instruments into the store. They also offer a new, inexpensive mandolin section, as well as student and professional-grade violins in a variety of sizes. They have repairs on site and lessons for all ages and abilities. Brightwood Music is family-owned and operated and has been a Nederland staple for over a decade. They are located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, Unit 109 in Nederland, and can be reached at 303-258-8863.
Hardt's Backhoe Service is your locally owned and operated excavating company working in the Peak-to-Peak region. They can take care of all of your excavating needs, including septic installation, digging your new foundation, rock walls, construction demolition, and so much more. Now scheduling summer and fall projects. You can reach them at 303-589-9354.
For our final story today, we'll talk to Jamie Lammers and Dan Oliver.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and this is my interview with Dan Oliver from local cover band Nine's a Pair.
My name's Dan Oliver, and I'm in a band called Nine's a Pair, the Fireman Band.
You guys are performing very soon on January 28th, 29th, I believe.
January 29th at the Last Dance.
What can you tell us about the band as a whole?
So we are a four-piece band. We have two guitars, a bass, a singer. We do classic rock covers primarily. So we're a guitar-oriented rock and roll band. That's our big thing. We do stuff from Led Zeppelin to Aerosmith to ZZ Top, but then we do a couple country songs. We do Dwight Yoakam and Chris Stapleton, and we try and mix it up and have a wide variety, not only of styles, but we play everything from early 60s to present day music, mostly in the 70s. I've noticed that our songs are mostly 70s and 80s type stuff.
How did the band start? How did you guys form and decide you were going to be a band?
Well, in the beginning, we were all Denver firefighters. We worked at one station, Station 9, and it started with kind of a joke as far as we started realizing that a bunch of different people played instruments, and so we picked a day and we did a jam, and that went okay. And we actually did it at the firehouse when we were on, a little bit of downtime. That went well, so we started learning songs, started doing open mic nights, and now we're 15 years plus into this. And, that's kind of how we started, just as hey, everybody bring your instruments and we're going to do a jam. I introduced myself, but we also have Ron Weber on guitar. He was the captain at the station when we first started. And then our bass player and lead singer is Reef Abbott. He's the only one still at Station 9. And then our drummer, Paul Karen, who's the non-firefighter. And then another thing I kind of wanted to talk about was our name. People always ask us about our name, Nine's a Pair, the Fireman Band. So we went through a few name changes in the beginning, but Nine's a Pair is how at our station we had an engine company and a truck company. So when they would send us both to the same incident, that's how our dispatcher dispatches us. They say Nine's a Pair, respond to such and such emergency. So that's where the name comes from.
How long ago did the band start?
We never really can remember, but it's been about 15 years ago that we started. The three of us up front, the guitar player, bass player, and second guitar player, we've been in the band since the beginning. Our drummer came to us within the first year, and he's the only non-firefighter in the band.
And would you say that you guys as a band have any stylistic influences or just a particular style that you've picked up along the way?
Well, with us, because we do cover songs, so we don't do original songs. We made that decision to just stick with covers back in the beginning. So we have 4 different influences because we have 4 different members in the band, but it's still based on classic rock type stuff. We're all into bands like Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin, Rush, those kind of bands. And so those are our influences, but we also know, we're entertainers. So we need to do stuff that people are going to enjoy hearing. So we do everything. We throw a couple country songs in there. We do some pop songs from the 80s that may not be what we listened to back then, but we do enjoy playing it when the people enjoy listening to it.
What was your personal musical background?
Myself, I play guitar. I do a little bit of harmonica in the band, but I'm very bad at it. I started playing guitar when I was probably 11 or 12, and my big guitar heroes were one, Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple, and then I really got into Joe Perry from Aerosmith. Those were my 2 biggest guitar influences growing up. I have many, many more now, but too many to list.
And what do you think are some of your guys' favorite parts about being able to perform live?
Well, I know for myself, it's just a huge adrenaline rush. It's so much fun to get up there when people are enjoying the music. You get an opportunity this is the first band I've been in, so I've played guitar my whole life, but it's just a completely different feeling when you get to share that music with an audience, and especially if they're enjoying it. The enjoyment they get from what you've worked your whole lifetime to create, it's just a great feeling, a great adrenaline rush. And I think being firefighters is part of it, but we just love the whole band aspect of it. We love feeding off of each other. We love being up there when things go really good and we give each other a little smile. It's like, man, we nailed that one. Or sometimes we give each other a little smile when it didn't work. It's like, ooh, go back to the drawing board on that one. But yeah, I think those are the big things about playing live that we all enjoy.
Are there any venues in the Peak to Peak area that you really, really like playing?
I would say the last band has been the one that we've been to most. Other ones have just been like one show here or there. So, we've played in Essex Park a couple times. We did the Stanley Hotel on 4th of July for a few years in a row, and that was fun. But yeah, the last band, we enjoy the owners there. Are really good to us, and they're really nice people, so we enjoy that place. We'll be back, talking about our shows. We play January 29th there, so in a couple weeks, but we'll also be back in May, on May 9th, playing the same place. We'll be outdoors then.
And is there anything in regards to your band, especially being made out of all firefighters except for one member, that you think stands out amongst some of the other bands in this area?
I don't really compare us to other bands, but I would just say that one of the big things about us is just the camaraderie that we have. When we started this, we were all at the same firehouse on the same shift. So we were all working, and we'd actually rehearse at the firehouse. So we would be rehearsing, and we'd get a call and set our instruments down and go on an emergency call. So the bond that we have, we really rely on each other a lot, firefighters, and then to carry that over into music. I think maybe our energy is a little different than most bands just because they're there primarily doing music and we're there doing music, but we also have that extra bond of sometimes we're relying on each other for our lives, basically. So I think that would be the only thing that I would say about that.
Is there anything else that you want to add about any other upcoming performances or anything else about the band that you want us to know or just anything along those lines?
People can check us out on our website. We're not like traditional bands where we play every single weekend or even a couple nights every single weekend. With our firefighting schedule, we try and do like once or twice a month. Sometimes we've been lucky enough to do more than that, but if they check our website, ninesrepair.com, we have sound clips on there and we have video clips on there. If they enjoy us, we'd love to see, the more people you get out there, the better the show is. So, there's that aspect of it. One thing that we have been doing for the last, I believe it's 6 years, maybe 7 years now, is that Corey Rose from Channel 9 News does a benefit concert every year. It's called the Wishes and Heroes Benefit Concert. She raises money for Make-A-Wish kids that have the same kind of cancer that her father, an LA firefighter, died from. And then she's raised so much money lately that she also donates to the Colorado Professional Firefighters Fund, which helps firefighters when they get in trouble. That's kind of one thing that we're bad at, is that we'll go help anybody, but we won't really ask for help. So again, they haven't announced a date for it, but that's always a fun one for people to come see us at. You know, we just love to have people come out. So if you're into classic rock, come check us out. You know, I also wanted to let everyone know that we have a YouTube channel too, Knights of Prayer, the Fireman Band. We have some videos up there. We did some actually story videos. So we have not so much this year's Christmas video, but we did Rocking Around the Christmas Tree last year during COVID because we couldn't really do any gigs. We enjoyed that. It was a pretty funny little, our version of Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. So you can check us out on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook and website, ninesprayer.com. As far as the band goes, we really enjoy playing. It's been a real highlight of my life being able to play in the band. And so we really enjoy getting out there. And again, we hope people enjoy our music. We hope to keep doing it for a long time.
Well, those are pretty much all the big questions that I have on my end. I want to thank you so much for coming on board and joining this podcast. This was really cool.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out to us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for coming on board.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on board and joining us to talk about Nines a Pair on the podcast. If you want to see them live, you can catch them performing at Last Stand Tavern, 32138 Coal Creek Canyon Road, Highway 72 in Golden on Saturday, January 29th, 2022. Not 2021, as I accidentally said in the previous podcast, but 2022 at 5 p.m. You can also check out their website at ninesapair.com or their official YouTube and Facebook pages. Nines a Pair, the Fireman Band.
Peak-to-peak musicians and artists, we're looking for you. Would you like a feature story in the Mountaineer? We cover all news of the Peak-to-Peak, including business, author, and artist profiles. We also offer features on our podcast, website, and social media. Right now, these are all completed through email, phone calls, and occasional in-person interview with our journalists. We are your community news source. Interested? Email publisher1977@gmail.com to get on the list for upcoming editions.
Are you a subscriber to The Mountaineer? Did you know that all paper subscribers also get free access to the website and e-edition? If you're not a subscriber, you can sign up for a free 100-day trial. For more information, email publisher1977@gmail.com. The Mountaineer is your community source for news in print, online, and on our podcast.
Oh, hey friends, what's the deal? I've been wondering how to feel about it all. Some things never change, the world sure rearranging right in front of us.
And that's all for this week's episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. All editions of the Mountaineer Podcast are available on our website at www.themountaineer.com.
And our outro music today is Solstice, again by Grant Livingston. Solstice is a song of reflection. This song explores the process of personal and collective growth through life's trials and triumphs and the importance/value of processing emotion and feeling.
Pick up this week's edition of The Mountaineer in print in multiple locations across the Peak to Peak, including western Boulder County and Gilpin County, as well as Jefferson County.
And go online to www.themountaineer.com to catch up on more local news. I'm Doug Armitage.
And I'm Barbara Hardt. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Yeah, weave it up, weave it down, weave it tossed around like a cloud. Oh, time is now. Got lost out in the rain, got me thinking about some things that I forgot. Oh, it's easy to lose sight when you don't know what is right. So tell me, where do we begin? Just trying to grasp what state we're in. Oh, to move the cloud. We've been kicked down in the snow, almost buried, don't you know? Yeah, we're back up. Yeah, it's time to start again.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.